The pregnancy test trembled in my hands, two pink lines stark against the white plastic. For 3 years, I had dreamed of this moment, imagined Marcus's face softening with joy, his arms wrapping around me, finally seeing me as more than an obligation. Instead, before I could speak, he threw a document across our marble coffee table. "Rose, let's get a divorce. Sign this agreement, and I'll give you an extra $20 million. I looked at the well-dressed, cold-faced man standing before me, my husband of 3 years, and felt something crack inside my chest. Marcus Westfield, heir to the Westfield Corporation, the man I'd loved since I was 17, the man who had never wanted me. "Marcus, what if I told you I was pregnant?" The words escaped before I could stop them, desperate and raw. His laugh was bitter. "I had a vasectomy. The kid can't be mine." The room spun. Marcus was my only man. If the child wasn't his, whose could it be? But when someone doesn't believe you, any explanation becomes useless. I watched him grab his briefcase and walk toward the door, his shoulders rigid with determination. "When we got married, we signed a contract," he said without turning around. "Our marriage term is 3 years. It ends in 1 month. If you don't agree now, the contract will end automatically anyway. But then you won't get a dime of the extra $20 million. The door closed behind him with a soft click that echoed like a gunshot. I sank onto the leather sofa, the divorce agreement burning in my hands. My marriage to Marcus had been messy from the start. 3 years ago, the woman supposed to marry him was my older sister, Victoria. Beautiful, vivacious Victoria, the sun around which our family orbited. But a week before the wedding, she'd left the country to chase her true love, some photographer she'd met at an art gallery. To maintain the strategic alliance between the Westfield and Morrison families, my parents had offered me as a replacement. Marcus's family agreed for the sake of face and business. I agreed because I'd harbored a crush on Marcus Westfield for 7 years, watching him from afar at charity galas and family gatherings, memorizing the way he laughed at jokes and the focused intensity in his dark eyes when he worked. I thought proximity would breed affection. I was wrong. On our wedding night, Marcus had tossed me a contract, the same 3-year marriage agreement now demanding my signature. No affection, no intimacy beyond what appearances required, and an automatic termination date. I had signed it with shaking hands, telling myself I had time. 3 years to make him love me. For 3 years, I played the perfect wife. Marcus had chronic stomach issues, so I studied recipes and learned to cook bland, nourishing meals. He suffered from tension headaches and insomnia, so I learned acupuncture and massage techniques. I scheduled his appointments, managed his dry cleaning, ensured his life ran smoothly. I made myself indispensable. But who falls in love with their maid? My phone rang, shattering my spiral of thoughts. My mother's voice was unusually bright. "Rose, your sister is back. She's on the afternoon flight. Tonight, come home with Marcus for a family dinner." My hand tightened on the phone. Why did she come back suddenly? My mother sighed, her tone shifting to conspiratorial sympathy. "I always felt that photographer was no good, but your sister insisted on marrying him." Sure enough, after they married, his true nature showed. He fooled around with other women even when your sister was pregnant, leading to her miscarriage. She's finally seen sense and left him. Poor thing. Oh, and Rose, don't bring up the past when you see her. Don't upset her. My mother's voice droned on with instructions for Victoria's comfort, but I wasn't listening anymore. A strange clarity descended over me. Victoria was back. That's why Marcus wanted a divorce so urgently. I suddenly felt like a character in a poorly written romance novel, the disposable second female lead who exists only to highlight the heroine's superiority. Rose Morrison, the substitute bride who warmed the male lead's bed until the true heroine returned. In the original plot, I would probably give up my child to the infertile couple and watch them build their happy family while I faded into obscurity. The thought should have devastated me. Instead, I felt something unexpected. Rage. Cold, clarifying rage. I put down the pen, leaving the divorce agreement unsigned. Why should I step aside just because Victoria snapped her fingers? Why should I make their reunion convenient? If I was destined to be a supporting character, I'd be the most troublesome villain this story had ever seen. Before the divorce, I would make them uncomfortable. The Morrison family estate looked the same as always, imposing and cold, like a museum dedicated to my parents' social climbing. I arrived alone, having taken a taxi. Marcus and Victoria pulled up moments later in his black Mercedes, and I watched from the window as he held an umbrella over her, letting the rain soak his left shoulder while she remained perfectly dry. A familiar ache bloomed in my chest, but I pushed it down. Pain was useless now. My parents swarmed Victoria the moment she entered, my father taking her coat, my mother fussing over her pale face. Victoria looked more fragile than I remembered, thinner, with shadows under her eyes, but she still commanded the room's attention effortlessly. She was the sun. I was a distant, unremarkable moon. I noticed Marcus's wet sleeve and walked over with exaggerated concern. "Honey, how did your clothes get wet?" I wrapped my arms around his, pressing close. "You'll catch a cold. You're the backbone of the company. You can't get sick. Let's go upstairs and change." Victoria's eyes shot to me, vacant and shocked. Marcus tried to pull away, but I held tight, maintaining the perfect wife facade. A vein pulsed in his temple as he struggled to preserve his image as a good husband. Finally, he followed me upstairs. The moment the bedroom door closed, he shoved me away. "Stop clinging to me. You're my husband. Why can't I hang on to your arm?" I examined my nails, casual. "Did you sign the divorce agreement?" "No, I'm pregnant. I told you I had a vasectomy." "Are you sure the doctor didn't scam you? You're the only man I've been with these 3 years. Don't try to weasel out of your responsibilities." My voice was ice cold, unfamiliar even to my own ears. Marcus stared at me, his face livid. "Rose, what happened to you?" For 3 years, I'd been gentle and accommodating, never contradicting him, always agreeable. He'd never seen this version of me, harsh, unyielding, refusing to bend. The truth was, gentle Rose had been a costume I wore. Underneath, I was the type who never let things go. If I couldn't make him love me, I'd at least make him regret taking me for granted. I folded my arms and met his glare. What's wrong with me? At least I'm better than someone who doesn't even recognize when his wife is being disrespected. Downstairs, I resumed my performance. I sat next to Marcus, playing the doting wife. "Honey, I want some fish, but it's too far. Can you get it for me?" "Honey, my water's empty. Get me more, please." I kept Marcus running errands throughout dinner. Both he and Victoria looked increasingly miserable. Perhaps my sister was realizing that the man who once followed her around like a puppy now belonged, at least legally, to someone else. Halfway through the meal, Victoria made an excuse about being tired and went upstairs. Marcus escaped to the bathroom moments later, unable to bear another minute of my saccharine demands. My mother leaned close, her voice scolding. "Rose, your sister just went through a breakup. Acting like that with Marcus might upset her." I almost laughed. This family had always revolved around Victoria's feelings. When she abandoned her wedding, they'd volunteered me as tribute without asking if I wanted to marry a man who would resent me forever. Now that she was back, I was expected to fade into the wallpaper again. I'd been a background character my entire life. Maybe it was time to step into the spotlight. I lifted my head, arranging my features into something pitiful. "Mom, Dad, I'm pregnant. That's why I've been." The crash of breaking glass cut through my words. I looked up to see Victoria standing at the stairs, her hand empty, her face a mask of shock. Marcus emerged from the bathroom, grabbed my hand roughly, and dragged me toward the door. "We're leaving." In the car, he drove in furious silence. I stared out the window, remembering Victoria's stricken expression and Marcus's white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel, and felt a strange, dark satisfaction bloom in my chest. Maybe I did have a talent for playing the villain after all. The next morning, I woke at 10, a personal record. For 3 years, I'd risen at 6 to prepare Marcus's breakfast: coffee with exactly 1 sugar cube, poached eggs with the yolk still slightly runny, and whole grain toast cut diagonally. Today, I rolled over and went back to sleep. When I finally emerged from the bedroom at 11, Marcus was sitting on the sofa, his face thunderous. His stomach growled audibly in the silence. "I'm hungry," I announced. "I'll order delivery." "You're not making breakfast?" Marcus looked genuinely confused, as if I'd announced I was sprouting wings. I slept in. Felt great. I scrolled through my phone, browsing menus. Marcus's stomach growled again. He stared at me in disbelief, waiting for me to apologize or explain. When I didn't, he slammed the door and left. I gave myself a mental high five and deliberately ordered only enough for 1 person. That afternoon, while getting a spa treatment, I received a call from Marcus's assistant. "Rose, the company cafeteria food doesn't suit Marcus's tastes. He hasn't eaten all day." "That's unfortunate. I said, examining my freshly painted nails. Don't worry, when he's hungry enough, he'll eat. Human beings are surprisingly adaptable. That evening, I received a photo from Victoria. It showed Marcus in profile, sitting at a restaurant table, his sharp features highlighted by candlelight. She retracted it immediately, followed by a text, "Sorry, wrong send." The manipulative clumsiness of it was almost insulting. Victoria wanted me to know she was with my husband. The old Rose would have cried. The new Rose studied the photo with analytical interest. Marcus was sitting before a massive pot of spicy hot pot. My husband, who had stomach issues and never ate spicy food, was accommodating Victoria's preferences. By tomorrow, he'd be in agony. I slept wonderfully. Sure enough, the next morning brought dozens of missed calls and frantic messages from Marcus's assistant. "Rose, Marcus has been hospitalized." I took my time getting ready, made a pot of congee, ate a leisurely breakfast, and then packed the leftovers to take to the hospital. Marcus was in a VIP room, propped up in bed, his face pale and drawn. When I entered, his expression flickered between hope and irritation before settling on the latter. "Rose is here." The assistant rushed to take the container from my hands. "This smells amazing. Marcus is so lucky to have you." "I brought the leftovers," I said slowly, enjoying the way Marcus's face darkened. "Didn't want to waste them." "Get out," Marcus said through clenched teeth. I turned to leave, satisfied, and nearly collided with someone at the door. Nathaniel Cross was tall and refined-looking, with gold-rimmed glasses and a face that rivaled Marcus's in handsomeness. He was also Marcus's arch-nemesis, a business rival who seemed to take perverse pleasure in competing for everything Marcus wanted: real estate deals, client contracts, even romantic interests. It was almost obsessive. Eavesdropping? I raised an eyebrow. How is it eavesdropping when I'm listening out in the open? Nathaniel's smile was lazy and amused. "Rose, making that man so angry, feels good, doesn't it?" I stared at him, unsettled by the knowing gleam in his eyes. "Stop calling me that. It's disgusting. Get lost." "Rose, why are you suddenly so feisty?" His voice softened unexpectedly. "But that's the you I know." The cryptic remark confused me. I stepped on his expensive leather shoe with my heel, grinding down, and walked away to the sound of his yelp. I'd decided to terminate the pregnancy. The child was innocent, but I couldn't raise Marcus's baby alone while he built a life with Victoria. It was too painful, too complicated. The doctor reviewed my test results, her expression growing concerned. "Rose, given your physical condition, you can't have an abortion. If you insist, it could be life-threatening." The words hit me like cold water. I sat in her office, hands trembling, as she explained the complications, something about my uterine wall and blood clotting factors that made the procedure extremely high risk. I'd been ambivalent about the pregnancy, but being told I couldn't choose suddenly made me want to fight for it. This was my child, my blood. Why should I give it up? As I left the doctor's office, Nathaniel appeared in the hallway, leaning against the wall like he'd been waiting. "Rose, you're pregnant?" He glanced at the obstetrics sign above the door. "Why didn't you tell me? I could have come with you to the hospital." "I'm busy, but I'd always make time for you and the baby." The presumption of it, the casual intimacy, made me see red. I stepped on his foot again, harder this time, and stalked off while he hopped on one leg, cursing. Maybe it was karma. Maybe I'd used up my luck torturing Nathaniel, because on my way down the steps, my heel caught, and I pitched forward. Instinctively, I wrapped my arms around my stomach, bracing for impact. Someone caught me, strong arms breaking my fall, a body cushioning mine. "Doctor, someone get a doctor." Nathaniel's voice, raw with panic. I blacked out. When I woke, Nathaniel was sitting beside my hospital bed, his long legs folded awkwardly, his usually immaculate appearance disheveled. He noticed my eyes opening and narrowed his gaze. "Awake? Rose, do you have an underdeveloped cerebellum or something? Can't even walk without falling?" The cruel words were undermined by the worry in his eyes. "I'm fine," I whispered. "The baby?" "Fine. You're both fine, no thanks to your coordination." Relief flooded through me. Nathaniel leaned closer, his expression softening. "Rose, your face looks terrible. Are you hurt? Let me." A figure stepped between us, shoving Nathaniel back. Marcus grabbed Nathaniel's wrist, his face contorted with fury. "This is my wife." "Really?" Nathaniel's smile was knife-sharp. "I thought she came alone because her husband was dead." from neglect and indifference. That's fatal, I hear. They glared at each other like territorial wolves. I would have found it funny if I weren't so exhausted. Get lost, Marcus growled. Get lost. Is that the only phrase you know? Are you a broken record? Nathaniel mocked him until Marcus looked ready to commit violence, then sauntered out, throwing me a wink. Despite everything, I smiled. Nathaniel was irritating, but watching him needle Marcus had become a guilty pleasure. Marcus turned his glare on me. Nathaniel wants everything that's mine. He's only good to you because you're my wife. Don't flatter yourself. The words stung, but they also sparked an idea. A brilliant, terrible idea. I arranged my features into something troubled. Marcus, what should I do? I think I've fallen for Nathaniel. His face went ashen. What? I want a divorce. I'll sign the papers when I get back. Weeks passed in a strange stalemate. Marcus didn't mention divorce. I continued my life, eating well, sleeping late, planning my post-marriage future. I researched small towns with low costs of living, browsed shop listings online, imagined a quiet life running a flower shop somewhere far away. Then my mother called, summoning me home. The moment I walked in, I knew something was wrong. My parents sat on the sofa, their faces grave. Victoria perched beside them, looking tragic and beautiful. My mother grabbed my hand, her eyes welling with tears. Rose, I know you haven't been happy these years. Marcus treats you like a maid, not a wife. Maybe you should consider divorce. I stared at her. She'd known all along. She'd watched me slowly break under the weight of an indifferent marriage and said nothing. Both daughters, but only one worth protecting. Marcus never liked you anyway, Victoria added softly. Why torture each other? Because you want him back, I said flatly. That's what this is about. Victoria didn't deny it. Neither did my parents. I'd expected anger. Instead, Marcus looked gutted, like I'd reached into his chest and squeezed. Good. Let him feel a fraction of what I'd endured. Back home, I searched for the divorce papers. They were gone. I called Marcus. Where are the divorce agreement? A long pause. I don't know. He was lying. Marcus, who desperately wanted me to sign, had hidden the papers. Apparently, his pride outweighed his desire to be with Victoria. He wouldn't let me divorce him on my terms, especially not for his rival. Fine. We could play this game. Weeks passed in a strange stalemate. Marcus didn't mention divorce. I continued my life, eating well, sleeping late, planning my post-marriage future. I researched small towns with low costs of living, browsed shop listings online, imagined a quiet life running a flower shop somewhere far away. Then my mother called, summoning me home. The moment I walked in, I knew something was wrong. My parents sat on the sofa, their faces grave. Victoria perched beside them, looking tragic and beautiful. My mother grabbed my hand, her eyes welling with tears. Rose, I know you haven't been happy these years. Marcus treats you like a maid, not a wife. Maybe you should consider divorce. I stared at her. She'd known all along. She'd watched me slowly break under the weight of an indifferent marriage and said nothing. Both daughters, but only one worth protecting. Marcus never liked you anyway, Victoria added softly. Why torture each other? Because you want him back, I said flatly. That's what this is about. Victoria didn't deny it. Neither did my parents. If I divorce him, what happens to my child? I asked. Stop pretending, Victoria snapped, her mask slipping. The child isn't Marcus's. He didn't call you out on it to save your face, but don't push your luck. I looked at my family, the people who should have loved me unconditionally, and felt nothing but weary resignation. 5 million? I said quietly. Victoria blinked. What? Give me 5 million, and I'll divorce Marcus. Victoria had everything. My parents' love, a trust fund, property. 5 million was nothing to her. But for me, a woman about to raise a child alone with no family support, it was survival. Victoria's face twisted with calculation. Then she nodded. Call Marcus. Let's end this. Marcus arrived within an hour. He looked terrible, thinner, with dark circles under his eyes. Where's the divorce agreement? I asked. He produced it slowly, reluctantly. Marcus, since Rose insists on divorce, just agree, Victoria said, her hand on his arm. I signed quickly, my signature a slash of finality. Marcus, remember, I'm the one who doesn't want you. Also, transfer the breakup fee to my account. I walked out without looking back. I left everything behind, the city, my family, the ghosts of my marriage. I moved to a small coastal town thousands of miles away, bought a tiny shop space, and opened a flower shop. On my first day, the door chimed. I looked up from arranging lilies and groaned. Nathaniel stood in the doorway, impeccably dressed, grinning like a fool. "What a coincidence," he said. "You followed me. The house across from yours was available. I took it as a sign from the universe." "You're insane." "About you?" "Absolutely." He bought 99 roses and put them in my counter vase himself. This became a daily ritual. Nathaniel would appear, buy flowers, make outrageous romantic declarations, and leave before I could murder him. "I'm pregnant with another man's child," I reminded him constantly. "Marcus's kid calling me dad?" The thought alone sustains me. He was persistent to the point of absurdity. At first, I refused his attention. Eventually, I became numb to it. He could do what he wanted. Then one morning, a delivery truck lost control and swerved onto the sidewalk, straight toward me. I froze, my mind blank with terror, hands instinctively covering my stomach. Nathaniel appeared from nowhere and shoved me out of the way. We hit the ground hard, him taking the impact. When the dust settled, his glasses were gone, his suit torn, his leg twisted at a wrong angle. "Nathaniel," I crawled to him, my heart hammering. "Don't move. I'll call an ambulance." "I'm fine," he said through gritted teeth. Black belt in Taekwondo. Takes more than a truck to hurt me. But when he tried to stand, his face went gray with pain. His leg was clearly broken. I called emergency services, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Nathaniel caught my wrist. "Rose, why are you crying?" I touched my face, surprised to find tears. "You idiot. You could have died. But I didn't. And you're safe. That's what matters." Something in my chest cracked open. Warmth flooded in, foreign and frightening. Nathaniel's recovery was supposed to take 3 months. I hired a nurse, but I visited every day with homemade food. He milked the injury shamelessly. "Rose, I'm thirsty. Rose, my hand hurts. Feed me. Rose, my shoulders are sore. Massage them." I grumbled and complied, kneading his shoulders while he hummed contentedly. That's when Marcus appeared in the doorway, his face dark with fury. He grabbed my arm and dragged me outside. Nathaniel struggled to get out of bed, but I pointed at him. "Stay there, or no dinner." He subsided immediately. Outside, Marcus's composure shattered. "Rose, let's get back together. I've been thinking about you constantly. I dream about you. I realize now, I love you." The words I'd once longed to hear now felt hollow. "I don't love you anymore," I said simply. "I have someone I like now. Please don't bother us." "Nathaniel doesn't love you. He's just competing with me." "When I was sick, you said you had to work. When a car almost hit me, Nathaniel shielded me without thinking. Tell me, Marcus, who really loves me?" I left him standing there and returned to Nathaniel, who promptly demanded I kiss his injury better. I twisted his ear instead, making him yelp. But I was smiling. 3 months later, Nathaniel should have been walking freely. Instead, he continued to limp dramatically and demand assistance. I grew suspicious. His build was lean and muscular. I'd glimpsed his physique once when he'd changed shirts, 8-pack abs on clear display. How could someone so fit not heal? One day, I clutched my stomach and groaned. Nathaniel leaped out of bed and rushed to my side. "Rose, what's wrong? I'll take you to the hospital." He froze, realizing his mistake. I glared at him. He grinned sheepishly. "Wow, my leg suddenly feels better. Must be the power of love." I pinched his ear, hard, but I was laughing. Nathaniel stayed with me through everything. The uncomfortable final months of pregnancy, the terrifying labor, the sleepless newborn phase. He was clumsy at first, nervous around the tiny, fragile life we brought home. But he learned quickly, changing diapers and warming bottles with increasing confidence. Our daughter's first word was mama. Her second was dada, directed at Nathaniel. He was happy for days. "Most men would run from raising another man's child," I said, watching him make silly faces at her. "Most men are idiots," he replied, tickling her tiny feet. "Besides, she's ours. Biology is just details." When she turned 2, Nathaniel and I officially became a couple. When she turned 3, we married in a small ceremony by the sea. She was our flower girl, scattering petals with solemn concentration. As Nathaniel slipped the ring on my finger, I glimpsed a figure in the back, a man with familiar posture, standing alone. My heart lurched, but I pushed the feeling away and smiled at my husband. After the ceremony, I found Marcus in the corner, crouching beside my daughter, offering her a candy. "Mommy and Daddy said not to take things from strangers," she said in her piping voice. Marcus's eyes reddened. He looked up at me, older, worn, with gray threading his temples. I picked up my daughter and handed her to Nathaniel. "Go play with Daddy." When they were gone, Marcus and I stood in awkward silence. "That kid," his voice was rough, "she looks like me. It doesn't matter anymore." Marcus rose. "Don't show up in front of me again. Otherwise, I'll disappear somewhere you'll never find me." I walked away toward my family, toward the future. Behind me, I heard a sound like a sob, but I didn't look back. "My name is Nathaniel Cross, and I had a childhood sweetheart named Rose Morrison. We grew up together, same kindergarten, same elementary school, same high school. When college came, she enrolled in a prestigious university in the South. I studied frantically to join her, but could only manage a school in the same city across town. I took buses for hours just to see her, to walk her to class, to study beside her in libraries. Those hours were nothing compared to her smile. In junior year, I started a company to earn money for our future. I wanted to propose after graduation to buy us a small home. A tech company invested in my startup, and by senior year, I'd saved enough for a house and a ring. The day I went to propose, I watched a truck hit her. My world ended. Even after they covered her with a white sheet, I couldn't accept it. I searched for her everywhere, every hospital, every city, every face in every crowd. Friends said I'd gone mad. But I knew, with absolute certainty, that my girl was out there somewhere. Eventually, exhaustion won. I collapsed in a forest, leaves falling on my face, ready to give up. My vision blurred. A figure appeared, backlit by sun, reaching for me. "My Rose, come to take me home." I smiled and closed my eyes. When I woke, I was in a luxurious bed in an unfamiliar room. I was Nathaniel Cross, born to wealth, Marcus Westfield's business rival, a man I'd never been before. But something felt missing. An ache in my chest, a name on the tip of my tongue I couldn't quite remember. Then one day, I saw a girl staring softly at Marcus Westfield, and something clicked. My legs moved on their own. "Miss, didn't we know each other in a past life?" She glared at me and ran away. But I knew. I'd found my Rose again. This time, I wouldn't let her go. This time, I'd save her from the truck, from the pain, from the man who didn't deserve her. This time, I'd give her the happy ending she deserved. Even if it took a lifetime, or several, I would always find my way back to her. The end.